Open up any social media feed today, and you'll find ancient Roman philosophy repurposed for the digital age. The private journals of Marcus Aurelius are now common reading for Silicon Valley executives and church leaders looking for mental resilience. We see the letters of Seneca packaged as essential guides for navigating high-stakes careers and intense daily stress. But while modern believers are folding these ancient exercises into their lives, it raises a 2,000-year-old question. Is it actually possible to hold to orthodox Christian theology while practicing the Stoic way of life? At first glance, the two systems are remarkably similar. Both worldviews demand self-control, altruistic care for others, and a rejection of material greed. Early Christian theologians recognized this ethical harmony immediately. Instead of ignoring the Stoics, they plundered Greek philosophy to help define the intellectual boundaries of the early church. This borrowing was so thorough that Byzantine monks took the famous Stoic handbook by Epictetus and literally edited out the pagan references, replacing Zeus with God, to turn it into a Christian training manual. However, this practical harmony hides a deeper conflict. Beneath the shared ethics, the core of Stoicism contains ideas that oppose the foundations of Christian faith. If a believer tries to adopt the complete Stoic system, they will find that the two worldviews eventually collide at their most basic levels. That collision starts with metaphysics. To the ancients, physical science and spiritual ethics were inseparable. Your understanding of the universe dictated how you were supposed to behave within it. This diagram represents the Stoic universe, a continuous loop of fire. Stoics believe God is an impersonal force trapped within matter, doomed to repeat an endless cycle of creation and destruction forever. Orthodox Christianity breaks that cycle. It posits a personal creator existing entirely outside the physical world. This means history isn't a repeating circle. It is a linear story with a definitive beginning and a clear destination at a final judgment. A person cannot logically reconcile an endlessly repeating physical loop with a linear narrative driven by a transcendent God. This split moves from the stars down to the individual. Stoicism relies on total self-reliance, teaching that virtue is something we achieve entirely through our own willpower. Theologian Blaise Pascal argued that this focus on self-sufficiency ignores the reality of human brokenness. To Pascal, Stoic pride prevents a person from recognizing their need for divine grace. We see the ultimate friction between these views when they face a stress test. How should a follower respond to insurmountable pain or political tyranny? The Stoics famously spoke of the open door. If external suffering makes it impossible to maintain your reason and dignity, they believed rational suicide was a dignified exit. Early Christians countered this with the theology of martyrdom. Because life is a gift from a sovereign creator, the Christian is called to endure suffering as a faithful witness, surrendering their life to God rather than taking it themselves. St. Augustine argued that if a philosophy recommends suicide to escape life's ills, it admits that it cannot actually deliver the inner peace it promised. The short answer to our central question is no. You cannot be a traditional, orthodox Stoic and an orthodox Christian at the same time. Accepting a cyclical universe, a deterministic fate, and the rationality of suicide directly contradicts the core of the Christian faith. When we compare the two, a clear pattern emerges that scholars call the 80-20 rule. Roughly 80% of the philosophy works as a behavioral toolkit, while the remaining 20%, the metaphysical engine, is the part that violates Christian doctrine. For the Christian, Stoicism serves as a psychological vestibule. It is a training ground for mastering one's emotions and focusing on what is within our control. The difference is the final goal. The Stoic uses reason to climb toward tranquility for this life alone. Modern believers can use these same tools to survive daily chaos, but to reach the finish line of their faith, they must eventually look beyond their own reason and rely on grace.